And as we welcome those joining the recording, I'll just let you know that you're not going to need any equipment this morning. And we're going to begin lying on our backs. So let's make our way over to our mats. And we'll begin lying down. And of course, if you're more comfortable putting something under your head as you lie down, you can do that. We'll begin with our feet on the floor. And you might choose to close your eyes, or you can have your eyes open if you prefer. But let your awareness now come into the feeling of being here. Take this time to notice how your body feels as you lie down. And feel the ground beneath you. I say this at the beginning of every practice. We start the same way every time, really focusing our awareness on the feeling of our body and the feeling of our body's connection to the ground. Because with our yoga practice, we have this opportunity to ground ourselves, to begin from a place of stability and solidness, to come out of our minds and bring our awareness down into the feeling of the body. So notice how your body is feeling this morning. Notice our attention often goes to the parts of the body that we might be having challenges with. And that's fine. Notice and recognize and acknowledge if you're experiencing some challenge or discomfort or injury. And then also notice the parts of the body that feel fine, that feel good perhaps. And as you're paying attention to the feeling of your body, as you notice what you're feeling, can you respond to that awareness with love and compassion? So notice the good and the bad of how you're feeling, and offer yourself just empathy, kindness, understanding, appreciation. And then begin to just notice the feeling of your breathing. Feel your in-breath and feel your out-breath. And let both of them start to become fuller and deeper and longer, so that the inhalation is very expansive and opening. And so that the exhalation is a releasing and an emptying and a letting go. Immerse yourself in your breath right now. Can you let your in-breath expand into a part where the breath hasn't been expanding? Can you feel it going a little higher or wider or broader or deeper? And when you breathe out, is there a way to feel the breath emptying more fully? Or have you reached the fullness of your exhale? So just a couple more rounds of your fullest, deepest, expansive breath in. And your fullest, deepest emptying of breath out. And after your next emptying of breath, let your breath return to a more natural breath rhythm. And see if you can spend the next few moments just focusing on your more natural breath. And not letting your mind wander away from anything but the focus on your natural breath. It can be difficult to focus on one thing, but that's our practice now. Just focus on the breath. If the mind wanders, bring it back, kindly, gently. The mind wants to wander, and we tend to get down on ourselves when we're not doing what we want ourselves to do. But the practice is about bringing the mind back without judgment or criticism. Just bringing it back and trying again, beginning over again. So we will start our movement practice in a moment. And we're going to try to do the same thing. Focus our awareness on what we're experiencing and paying attention, which should help us to move in a way that's appropriate for how we're feeling. And if we find that we're pushing ourselves too hard or we're not giving as much energy as we'd like, can we just encourage ourselves with kindness and gentleness, like we would with a dear friend? And just immerse ourselves in this experience of breathing and moving so that we're offering ourselves just what we need this morning. So this practice is good for our mind and our body and our spirit. So we'll begin with our eyes opening if they were closed. We'll take our feet off the floor. We'll give our knees a hug. And as you hug your knees in, just imagine like that this is a hug, like you're hugging a friend. You're hugging your knees in and you're kind of giving your knees an embrace, an act of love. And you can gently sway side to side and give your low back a little massage, or just any gentle movement that feels like an act of kindness to yourself. And then as you bring your knees to center, we'll lift our legs up in the air, we'll release our arms down, and we'll just alternate flexing and pointing the feet. And you can look up at your feet and kind of just appreciate them, even if they're not as beautiful as they were when you were 5 years old. Just being grateful for our feet and all that they've done and all that they've carried us throughout our lives. Let's circle at the ankle and maybe appreciate that mobility, that range of motion that we can move our feet around because our ankles allow that range of motion. Let's circle the other way. Just maybe kind of enjoying and appreciating how much we can move our feet, our ankles. And then let's bend the knees, grab your knees, draw them apart, open them out, and just kind of open up the inner line of the legs. Feel the hips open up a little bit. Take a breath. And then we can press the knees back in and release our feet to the floor. With our feet on the floor, let's just start to lift our hips up a little bit, just kind of stretching out the front of the thighs and to the front of the hips, and just nice gentle bridge. Take a breath at the top. And then lower yourself back down, rolling out your spine a little bit there. And then we're going to lift our arms up toward the ceiling. Turn your palms to face each other. Reach up so that your shoulders come off the floor. And then take that upper arm bone and pull it back down into the shoulder socket and release or plant the back of your shoulders back into the floor. Do that again. Breathe in and reach up, your shoulders round forward. And then breathe out and pull the upper arm bones back into the shoulder socket. Feel the back of your shoulder on the floor. Then open your arms out wide and just hover your arms slightly off the floor. Kind of soften your elbows, hollow out your armpits, feel the back of your shoulders on the ground. Keep that contact of the back of your shoulders on the ground as you bring your arms back up toward the ceiling. So the collarbones are broad, the back of the shoulders are heavy. And then we're gonna bend the elbows so the fingertips point back, and we'll pick our feet up off the floor. So we have bent knees, bent arms, our starting dead bug position. So keeping the back of the shoulders heavy, let's reach our arms up toward the ceiling so we won't lift the shoulders up. And we'll also straighten our legs. And then we'll bend them both. Bend the knees, bend the arms. Do that a few more times. We'll inhale as we go up and we'll exhale to bend. One more time like that. So the arms go up, but the shoulders stay heavy on the ground. Yeah. So now let's do opposite arm and opposite leg. One arm and the opposite leg go up, and then we come back to bent. And then the other arm and the other leg go up, and then we go back to bent. So just alternating opposite arm, opposite leg, moving with the breath, waking up the two sides of the brain. Just enjoying this movement. Most of us have been doing this a while, and this movement is something we're used to. If we're newer to the practice, this might be a little challenging. So just be kind and patient with yourself. If this contralateral movement seems a little challenging, it'll come over time. Let's straighten our arms and legs up now. Back of the shoulders are still heavy on the floor. We're going to start to take one leg out to the side. And I want you to focus on your midline. Keep your midline steady. Don't let your hips rock. See how far that leg can go, and you can keep your hips from lifting or rolling. Take your other arm out to the other side. Take a breath. And then bring that arm and leg back up as you exhale. Take the other leg out to the side and see how far you can go and still keep that hip steady on the floor. Take your other arm out to the other side. Take a breath. And then exhale that arm and leg back up. So continue that movement. Opposite arm and opposite leg opening out to the side with the in-breath. And then the exhale, bringing that arm and leg back up. And then the other side. So as the leg goes out to the side, there's no movement in the hips. We keep that midline steady and stable from the chin, sternum, pubic bone, that whole line. No part of it veers off to the side. Just opening out as we breathe in and coming back up as we breathe out. So we're going to do a number of these. You can always take a little break if your body needs a little break. We're offering ourselves what we need this morning. And we're focusing on the movement and how it feels. Right now, focus on your midline, keeping that midline solid and steady. Knowing where our midline is in space is a really grounding practice. It's a way to experience embodiment, which helps us to feel more calm. So this whole practice this morning is about feeling our bodies, practicing embodiment. So the next time your arms and legs come up, you can take a break if you want, hug your knees in or release your feet to the floor. We're going to do the next layer of dead bug, where we take one arm overhead, thumb reaching back, and the opposite leg, you can either tap your toe to the floor and bring the leg up, Or extend that opposite leg out so it's a little bit off the floor, and then bring the arm and leg back up. So one arm goes overhead, the other leg either taps a toe or extends, and then we bring that arm and leg back up. We can inhale as we extend and exhale to come back up, and just continuing like that. So each of these layers of dead bug warms up the body in different ways. And it gives us a chance to really link our breath with our movement and practice really feeling what we're feeling. We can see the parts of our body that are moving. We can appreciate the feeling of this movement. And we can also consider, should I keep going? Should I take a break? How's this feeling? So we'll do a few more, if that feels right for you. And after the next time the arm and leg come up, we can maybe take a break, hug the knees in if you like, release your feet to the floor. We're going to do one final layer of dead bug. We're going to reach our arms overhead, both arms. Thumbs can reach back toward the floor, or the back of the hands can rest on the floor. We'll take a breath in. As you exhale, knit your ribs in a little, and then press out through your heels and start to lower your legs slowly away from you. And pay attention to your low back. When your low back begins to arch more than a little bit, draw your knees in. Inhale your legs up, and then as you exhale, press out through your heels and lower your legs away from you. Keeping those ribs knitting in will help keep the low back a little more from arching. But when it starts to arch more than a little bit, bring your knees in, lift your legs up. So we might do one or two more of these. Just really focusing. Some of us, the legs might not go as far, and that's fine. We'll just draw our knees in and lift the legs up. Last one now. How far can your legs go before that back begins to arch? And then you draw your knees in. This time as your knees draw in, reach your arms up, and once again, give your knees a hug. And, a nice hug with feeling. And maybe again, you might sway. Take a breath. Again, release your feet to the floor. And we're going to, again, do a gentle bridge. So feet are hip distance. We're just going to lightly lift the hips up into the air. Not a big bridge, just a little bridge. Take a breath at the top. And then roll yourself back down. Unfurling your spine until you've rolled your tail out. And then let's roll to our side. We're going to lay on our side, and we'll just let our head be supported by our arm, or let it rest, or have a pillow under there if you like. We're going to bend our knees straight forward so that the knees are stacked one on top of the other. We'll place our top hand on our top hip, and we're going to lift this top leg up to the height of the hip. You can kind of check that, and then extend that leg out straight. Let's flex the foot. So we're going to lift the leg a little higher than the hip and then bring it back down. And the foot is forward, the foot is flexed. We're just going to start to wake up the hip here now. The muscles of the hip, the glutes. And let's go up and down one more time. And then we're going to circle, little circles, forward, up, around, forward, up and around. And as you're circling the leg, try to keep the hips right as they are, just one stacked right on top of the other. So we're not rolling the hip back, we're just moving the leg. And let's change direction on that circle. Change the direction, circle it up and around. And again, can you keep your hip? I'm holding right onto my hip bone here to try to make sure that I'm not moving the hip front and back, just moving from the leg. We'll do that one more time. And then just hold that leg up, press out through your heel, take a breath. And then release that knee on top of the other knee. We're going to push ourselves up and swing the legs around to the other side. And wake up the other hip. So again, support your head in some way that's comfortable. Bend your knees so they're straight forward, and then check one knee stacked on top of the other. We'll put one hip right on top of the other. And then we'll lift that top leg up to the height of the hip and then extend that leg out straight. And then we're just going to lift it up higher and bring it back down. So the foot is flexed, so we got a more active leg. Lifting it up and lowering it down. Lifting it up and lowering it down. One more time like that. And then let's do little circles. And the trick here is to keep the hips from moving. Just move the leg. Circle it around. And we feel the body so that we feel that we're keeping the hips steady. And then we're going to change direction on that circle. Circle the leg the other way without letting the hips roll back. You're doing great. We'll do that a few more times. And then hold that leg out, take a breath. And then release that knee on top of the other knee. Let's make our way around to all fours. And of course, cushioning your knees if you're on a hard surface, and that would feel better for you. Get nice and square here. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Feel the length of your spine. You can shift your hips or shoulders around a little bit. Just do 1 or 2 cat-cows just on your own, just rounding and flexing and extending your spine in any way that feels nice for you. So just not even looking at your computer, just feeling yourself arching your back or rounding your back or moving in some way that kind of wakes up your spine or feels nice in your body. And then eventually making your way back to just on your all fours. And so we're going to try a couple different things here. If it works for you to curl your toes under and lift your knees a little bit off the floor, we're going to do that. We're going to just hover. If that's difficult for your toes and you know it's difficult to get here, you can do this just with your knees on the floor. So with our knees off the floor or on the floor, could we lift one hand and put it down and lift the other hand and put it down? Now, if your knees are hovering, can you lift a foot and put it down, lift another foot and put it down? If you're on all fours, you could just lift your knee at a time. So either you're lifting one hand at a time and the other hand at a time and lifting a foot and lifting a foot, or can we do opposite hand and opposite foot? Opposite hand and opposite foot. And we can just do that right here on our mat. Or if we want to go a little further, we could start to bear crawl. Maybe you have room to just kind of move around in your space and bear crawl around, trying to keep your knees close to the ground. And you might move forward and back. You might move sideways. Just move in any way that works for you. We'll go a little bit further. So you could just be on your mat, just lifting hand and knee. Or you might be
bear crawl, so I decided to crawl over there.
Let's go ahead and drop to knees, coming back to your mat, and we'll sit back into child's pose. Your arms could be out in front, your arms could be at your side, or they might be supporting your head. As you arrive here, check in, notice how you're feeling. Offer yourself some love, some kindness, some encouragement, some support. And then when you're ready, lift your head up, reach your arms out in front, and make your way to downward facing dog. Yeah. So as you're here, feel your hands connected to the floor, pressing down. Notice if your shoulder blades have kind of hugged in, and try and create a little space between your shoulder blades. Broaden across your upper back. Go ahead and bend your knees and draw your hips up and back, lengthen your spine, breathe in and out. You might move your hips a little side to side. You might begin to bend a knee and pedal a heel to the floor. You might shake your head a little bit. Just move around in any way that can free yourself up or loosen yourself up where it feels good. Connect with your breath. Let your breath release a few times. And then let's bend both our knees quite a bit, seeing how much length we can get in our spine, hips drawing way up and back. Deep breath in, full release of breath. And then we'll walk our hands back towards our feet, dropping our heels down, feeling our feet nice and planted here. Let's take a breath into the upper back. Let the breath empty out. And then draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up. Just feeling our spine unfurl and stack slowly, gradually. Eventually rolling up the head. As you ground your feet down, reach your arms out and broaden out. And then reach your arms up as you breathe in. And then exhale your arms down at your side. Great. All right, let's turn towards our computer. And if you want to have something to hold on to now, you might want to be near a wall or near a chair. We're going to have our feet right beneath us, and we're just going to lift our heels up a little bit. And then we're going to lift our heels up as high as we can. And then we're going to lower our heels down slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Let's do that again. Lift our heels up a little bit, and then lift them up as high as you can, and then slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Now let's take our feet wide into sumo stance, toes turned out. And we're going to take our hips back as our knees go out wide towards the toes. So the knees bend out and then the hips go back. The knees go forward and the hips go back. So we get kind of deep into the sumo squat. And then same thing, we're going to lift our heels a little bit. And then we're going to lift them real high. And we're going to slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Let's try it again. Lift your heels a little bit and then lift them real high and slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Good. Lift your heels just a teeny bit and then straighten your legs. Great. Lower your heels, walk your feet in. Let's make our way to the front of our mats. And we'll ground down to stand tall. Let's reach the arms out. And as we inhale, we'll reach the arms up. Shoulders and ribs lift, heart lifts, we stretch up. And then we'll swan dive forward, breathing out. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath in here, drawing the hips up and back. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Let's hold here for a breath, knowing that we can always let our knees lower down if that's best for us. As you push your hands into the floor, can you feel the strength across your upper back? Maybe create a little more space there, a little more length in the neck. Let's take another breath and then try a little bend in the elbows, elbows pointing back. Try not to let your hips drop here. Take another breath here, and then we're going to lower ourselves down onto belly. Yeah, into prone mountain. Let your chest sink down. Hover your head just barely off of the mat. Nice and long, toes to crown. Let's inhale up to baby cobra. Nice gentle extension here. And then we'll exhale back down. This time we'll inhale up to baby cobra and we'll lift our hands off the floor. As we lift the hands, can we lift the elbows up and hug them in? And then release the hands, release the chest. Let's keep our hands down this time and inhale up to baby cobra. And if we like, come up even more to cobra, keeping our hips on the floor here. And then we'll exhale back down. Let's push up to knees now. Curl the toes under and lift the knees up. And then lift our hips up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then looking forward, let's walk our feet up toward our hands. Plant our feet beneath us. We'll sweep our arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at our side. We'll do that again. Rooting down, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Let's take a breath into the upper back here. And as we exhale, extend the heart forward. Hands might go to shins. We'll inhale and round again. And then bringing hands to the floor, we'll step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath here. Again, exhale to straight arm plank. Take another breath here. Exhale, a little bend in the elbows. Take another breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down, prone mountain. Let's inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. And exhale back down. Make our way up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then I'd like you to drop onto your knees and come up to stand on your knees. Let's step 1 foot forward now. Step that foot out in front. Get the heel under the knee or maybe a little forward of under the knee. And then just start to let the weight go into that front foot and let this back hip come forward. And then push the weight back. Now let's press the back knee and shin down into the floor so we kind of create a little more action in this thigh. And then same thing, move the front knee forward with a little more action in this thigh. And then push back. Again, push the weight down into the knee and shin and let this front knee move forward, back hip moves forward. And then take that same arm as the back leg and sweep it up. Breathe in. As that breath empties, stay here. And the next breath, sweep your other arm up as well. And then as you exhale, let your hands come down to the floor. Maybe dropping a little deeper into this stretch. Can we place the same hand as the back leg on the floor? Take the other arm straight out to your side. And then inhale that arm up toward the ceiling, letting that outer knee hug in. Hug that front knee in towards your midline. Take a breath. And then bring that top hand back down. Let's push the weight onto the back knee and change legs. So we're going to step the other leg out in front. Heel under the knee or forward of the knee. Front hand, your hands can be on the front knee. And then just start gently letting the weight move into the front foot, letting the back hip sink forward a bit, and then push the weight back. Now, can you press this back knee and shin down and then move forward? So there's a little action in that back leg. And then push the weight back again. Again, press the back knee and shin down to let the weight move forward. And then that same leg, the same arm as the back leg, swing it up in the air as you breathe in. Let that breath go. Take the other arm and sweep it up in the air. Breathe in. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands down to the floor, maybe sinking a little deeper into that lunge, kneeling lunge. The same arm as the back leg, let that hand come to the floor. The other arm comes out to the side. We're going to open that arm up, and this front knee has a tendency to drop open. Can you hug that knee in as you press down to lift up, and breathe in and out here. And then bring that hand back down. Push the weight onto the back knee. We'll come back to kneeling. And let's sit back into child's pose. Sit back on the heels, round over the legs, release your forehead down. Take a moment to check in. Sometimes I like to move my hips a little side to side. You can try that if it feels good. Breathe in and out. What are you noticing? What are you feeling? What are you offering yourself? Then with your next breath in, lift your head up, reach your arms out, make your way up to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Look a little forward, walk your feet up towards your hands, plant your feet beneath you. From here, have your feet about hip distance apart, bend your knees and lower your hips, and bring your hands to heart. Sit back like you're sitting in a low chair. From here, I'd like you to take a big step back with the leg that's closest to your device. Step back onto that leg, into a lunge. Feet are hip distance apart. And then bring your hands to hips. Let's go ahead and straighten the front leg and then bend the knee. Push down and straighten the front leg and then bend the knee. One more time, push down to straighten and then bend. Drop your arms down and sweep your arms forward. So fingertips are reaching forward, back heel is pressing back, hips are dropped down, but spine is rising up. So I want you to take the arm that's the same as your front leg and sweep it down and reach it behind you and open and twist in that direction. Take a breath here. As the breath empties, sweep the arm forward and back out in front of you. And on your next inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to lean forward. And we're going to step the back foot in and sit into that low chair. Then we'll step the other foot back. Big step back into a lunge. Then bring your hands to hips. So the back heel is up. We're in a lunge. And then we're going to straighten the front leg and straighten up. We'll bend the front knee forward and then push down to straighten. Bend the front knee forward, push down to straighten. Good work. Couple more. Bend the front knee forward, push down to straighten. This time, bend the front knee forward. Stay here. Drop your arms down and then sweep them forward. So the fingertips are reaching forward, back heel is pressing back, hips are dropped down, spine is rising up. The same arm as the front leg, sweep it down and behind you, opening into a twist. Take a breath here, reaching out wide. And then sweep that arm down and forward. Let's take a breath in as we reach the arms up. And then exhale, hands to heart. Lean forward, step your back foot in, sit back into your low chair. Reach your arms forward and then reach them up by your ears. Take a breath in and out here. And then push down to straighten up. Breathe in as you reach up. And exhale, arms down in your side. Great. Let's come into a wide stance. Nice big wide stride. We'll turn the right foot in. We'll turn the left foot out. Let's go ahead and bend the front knee and straighten it. So sometimes it takes me a few moments to really get my feet appropriately distanced and to feel them really rooting down. So take these first few bending and straightenings of the knee to find where you want your feet and how you want your feet. And then the next time the knee is bent, pause there. Feel yourself kind of dropping your hips down into this wide-legged warrior stance. And then bring your hands to heart. Let's turn the chest more in line with the long line of our mats. And we're going to just take the arms and sweep them out wide. Yeah, broaden the arms out and then let your spine rise up here and take a breath. So now we're just going to play around with our gaze. So I want you to take your gaze towards your front hand here, towards your left hand. So your head is forward, but your gaze is going to turn to the side. And then let your head follow your gaze so that you're looking out over that arm. Take a breath in and out here. Let your back hand now drop on your back leg. Turn your front palm up. Inhale that arm up toward the ceiling. You can look up at it. And then let that arm come down. Reach both arms out again. Take your gaze and your head forward. Now, I want you to turn your gaze towards your back hand here, but keep your head forward. So your eyes just turn to the side towards that arm reaching out behind you, and then let your head turn in that direction to follow your gaze. Take a deep breath in and out here. And then return your head forward. Great. Now straighten your front leg and begin to tip your hips over. Let your bottom hand come on your bottom leg. Reach your other arm forward and then open it up toward the ceiling. So we can reach down and reach up. Broaden out from your center. This hand could be on your shin, your hand could be open. Breathe in and out here. And then push down into the front foot and leg to rise up. Great. Turn your feet forward and then turn that back foot in. Turn your right foot out. And again, we're going to bend and straighten just to kind of find a nice position of the feet. Really feel your feet pressing into the floor, connected, grounded through the whole bottom surface of the foot that connects with your mat. And then the next time the knees are bent, pause here. Sinking down, but letting the spine rise up. Bring your hands to heart and then turn your chest so that you align with this long line of your mat. And then slide your arms out wide. The shoulders, don't let them hunch up. Let them be relaxed down as you broaden out. Now we're going to go towards this front hand, towards your right hand. Your head is going to be forward, but turn your eyes sideways to look at that front hand first. And then let your head follow your gaze. So you're looking out over that arm. Take a breath here. Exhale your back hand on your back leg. Turn that front palm up and inhale that arm up, looking up. Reach that arm up as the back hand slides down. Take a breath and then come back to proud warrior. Take a breath here and then return your gaze, your head position forward. All right. We're going to now turn our gaze towards the back arm. So your head is forward. Your gaze, your eyes are going to turn to look at that arm behind you, and then let your head follow. Looking back out over that back arm. Take a breath in and out. And then return your head, your gaze forward. All right, we're going to start to straighten the front leg, and we're going to tip over. Bottom hand comes onto the shin. Other arm can come forward and open up. And as you're here, there might be a little bend in the front knee. It might be more or less straight. You could support with your hand here a bit, or you could just broaden out top to bottom. Take a breath here, in and out. And then push into that front foot and leg to rise up. Great. Turn your feet forward. You can walk your feet in, you can jump your feet together. Let's come on down. We're going to sit down. And I want you could sit up on a blanket now if that would help you to feel more upright. We're going to take one knee. Let's take the right leg, place the foot against the thigh. So the foot is against the thigh, the other leg is straight. Now, if you feel like you're kind of leaning back, then sit up on something so that you can be sitting with that little inward curve in your low back. So, and this foot might be enclosed. If that's not comfortable, that leg could be out to the side as well. So we're going to root down to straighten up. Let's take our arms and reach them out. We're going to inhale the arms up. So we're lengthening up. As we exhale, we're going to open the arms out, and I want you to see if you can hinge forward, right? So that means we're not bending at the waist, we're not bending at the neck. We're just seeing if we can move from the hip. We're all going to have different abilities to go. Some of us can hinge a little bit, some of us can hinge quite a bit. Let's bring our hand onto the front leg. See if you have any ability to hinge anymore. You may or you may not. We can put a little weight in the front foot to create a little more action in that front leg as we're hinging forward. We're going to take another breath. And on this next exhale, we might want to bend the knee a bit because we're going to let the back round. We're going to have the low back, the mid back, and the upper back round. Let the head drop down. We're just going to breathe in and out here, breathing into the bottom of the lungs. See if you can breathe into the area right around the kidneys. Let that breath empty out. Do that again. Breathe down deep into the lower part of the ribs. And let the breath go. And then just start to roll yourself up. Great. Take this bent knee, bring it upright, and your foot can be here or it can cross over. We're going to take that crossed over leg, we're going to bring that arm behind, and we're just going to twist in the direction of the arm that went behind. Twist yourself around. You can change this front arm position if you like, and then breathe in and out here. Nice deep breath in, nice full emptying of breath out. One more time like that, deep breath in and out. And then just unwind yourself around. Take that leg and straighten it out. And then we're going to take the other leg and bend it in, place the foot against the thigh, let the knee drop open. Sometimes that you might need to support this with a block or a blanket or something, or that leg can just be out to the side. So we're going to kind of orient towards this front leg, take the arms out, inhale and reach up. Feel your spine nice and long. As you exhale, open your arms out and can you hinge forward, even a little bit. Some of us hinging forward is challenging with the structure of our hips. Some of us it's easy. Whatever it is for you, can you be okay with it? Can you accept yourself? And just kind of notice this experience. How does it feel to hinge forward? And can I just move from my hip? Try to resist the temptation to bend at the waist or bend at the neck. And just breathe into this hinge here. And then let's let the back round. So again, it might be better for your low back if you bend your front knee a bit. We're going to let the low back round, the mid back round, the upper back round, and let the head release down. And now breathe down into the back of the low ribs. And let the breath empty out. Do that again. Breathe into the back of the low ribs. And let the breath go. And then roll yourself up. Take this bent knee and bring it in. You might have the foot here. You might put the foot across. This same arm is this front leg. Reach it behind you and then just twist around in that direction. In any way that feels nice for your body. And then breathe deeply in this twist. Deep breath in. And full release of breath. One more time like that. releasing back around. All right, uncross that leg. We're going to make our way to lying down into our final pose of relaxation. And I'm going to guide you through, I'm going to do some reading and then guide you through a meditation. So get warm and comfortable so that when you're lying down, it feels good. You might have a pillow under your head or a blanket over you. Set yourself up to be nice and comfortable. And as you arrive down into your lying back position, just allow your body to relax, to lie back and release into the floor. And as your body is relaxing and lying back, I'm going to share this reading with you. It's called Being a Mirror of Goodness. The medicine for our hurting world is love. And our loving becomes deeply healing when we see and reflect back the innate goodness of other beings. Being a mirror of goodness can help us undo a lifetime of self-aversion or alienation. It can call forth our natural intelligence, creativity, courage, and love. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. I forgot to turn off my phone. Okay. All right. So let's say that again. Being a mirror of goodness can help us undo a lifetime of self-aversion or alienation. It can call forth our natural intelligence, creativity, courage, and love. We all need to be reminded of our intrinsic worth. Yet, because we are so conditioned to judge or try to fix others, or to view them in a habitual way that assumes what they are like, we often don't remember to take in their goodness. And when we do register the brightness and tenderness of their heart, we rarely let them know. Being a mirror of goodness requires learning to see beyond another person's protective conditioning and expressing our appreciation and love. We can start to break our patterning with those close to us, as well as though we don't know well, by purposefully looking at them with a curious, receptive, and fresh attention. One trick is to begin by looking into someone's eyes with the intention of noticing what color they are. Then begin to wonder about who is looking through those eyes. Can I sense the light of awareness that is there? What does this person care about most deeply? What suffering does their heart bear? If they were gone, what would I remember and cherish? In our personal relationships, being a mirror of goodness means letting others know what we most appreciate or love about them. It's an intimate offering, one that can bring up self-consciousness, discomfort, and the fear that what is being shared won't be welcome. Maybe we think we aren't a significant figure in the other person's life and that what we are noticing won't really matter. Or perhaps it's simply that we are shy and it's not our habit. Yet, expressing our appreciation has the power to transform lives. Saying it out loud matters. Love becomes fully alive in the moments it is expressed. When you tell a dear one, I love you, with presence and sincerity, the energy of those words will soften and open and awaken the person's heart. And as you speak, your own heart will also become more tender, vast, and free. Loving kindness meditations can be a powerful ground for actively mirroring goodness. You can envision someone who you have a tenderness for and imagine yourself appreciating that goodness and maybe touching them gently or kissing them on the brow. It can be as simple as seeing their goodness. And maybe just including a phrase of well-wishing to feel more connected. Practicing loving kindness in any way towards another person reminds us to let them know that we appreciate their basic goodness. Being a mirror of goodness is not only the greatest gift we can offer to others, it has the power to awaken more understanding and compassion in our world. As we cultivate our seeing, we realize that the loving awareness we cherish shines through all beings everywhere. So let's take a few moments and try to practice mirroring goodness. So as you're lying back, bring to mind someone who is dear to you. As you hold that image of that person in your mind's eye, remind yourself of what you appreciate and love about them. Perhaps recalling an affectionate look in their eyes, their brightness, humor, generosity, honesty. The quality that you appreciate and love about them. And feel the warmth of your appreciation for them in your body. And now imagine being with that person in person and telling them some of the specific ways you experience their goodness. And notice how they receive your mirroring their goodness. Notice how you feel having offered this mirroring. And notice if this mirroring their goodness, how it affects your feeling of connection to that person. Then take a few moments to feel your intention to be a mirror of goodness for this person. And then consider more broadly this idea of mirroring goodness for others in your life. This could be a practice that you could choose to use in meditation, or even as you just go through your day, as you come on a person, just reflecting on those qualities that you appreciate in them and sharing those feelings with that person and seeing what that does with your connection with those around you. And then even trying to see the goodness and those that we don't know well, or even those we really struggle with. Finding some quality that you can appreciate and mirroring that for them, either out loud or just from within. So if you'd like to continue lying back and just think about the mirroring or just relaxing, you're welcome to do so. And if you're ready to transition now, you might begin opening your eyes, bringing your feet to the floor. As you roll to your side, you might spend a few moments there to transition. And if you make your way up to sitting, you might want to take a few moments to just ground all that you've experienced and felt in this time back down into your heart. And close out your practice in a way that is meaningful for you. With love and gratitude. Thanks for being here.